Hello everyone. Day 924, walking 5 miles per day every single day at age 67 and a half. I've got a simple question that has served me well in sales and now in this adventure. And I've been using this question for quite some time. When I first started in sales, I made all the classic mistakes. I would go out and cold call and I would prejudge this store, I'd prejudge that store. I would say, oh, they're not interested, blah, 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 and end up getting hardly anything. Then, when I lost my restaurant, I had a friend who gave me a job on the spot to sell toys to convenience stores, basically on consignment. It was a pretty easy sell. And I was not going to get paid until I sold all 25 stores. And I needed money. I needed money quickly. So Monday through Thursday, I was out there hammering. And going into Friday, I had 23. I went out and I got number 24. And then I just started going, what am I going to do now? Because they had to be confined to a specific little area in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So that Friday, I kept just hammering stores. And finally, I drove up to a store that I had driven by for nearly 5 days, at least 4 days. I had driven by them saying, I don't think they're going to be interested. And I kept moving on. It's 4 o'clock on a Friday. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I walked into that store, and within about 3 minutes, he said, yes. How much time could I have saved if I had gone to that store to begin with instead of driving by it? That is very true today. I've been selling this ice cream product for 2 months, give or take, and I've opened 170 accounts. And the way I have done that is I just walk in every store. I don't care. I don't care if it's dilapidated. As long as they've got a business license and they're selling food in their store, I'm gonna pitch them. I learned I don't make the decision for them. I let them make the decision for me. So here's the question that I always ask myself before I walk into a store or do this. What is the worst that can happen? That's it. What is the absolute worst that can happen if I walk into a convenience store and they say no? Is it fatal? I don't think so. If it was, I'd been dead a long time ago. Is it disappointing? Well, sure. But there's one across the street. And I have actually sold referrals from a store that said no. They didn't say no because they didn't want the ice cream. They said no because they didn't perceive they had a spot for the freezer. I did my best to show them a spot, but sometimes they're hard-headed. That's the way it works. Now, how does that question, what's the worst that can happen, tie into this channel and walking every single day? Well, simple. What is the worst that could happen while I'm out here walking? Well, the way I look at it, if something bad was going to happen, it would have already happened by now. You got the same usual suspects. Might get hit by a car. There might be a dog, weather, all that kind of stuff. Well, those are sort of silly in my view, because the worst that can happen if you decide not to walk, run, go to school, do all that kind of stuff, you're going to be right where you are right now. Nothing's going to change. And if you're okay with that, that's cool. That's cool. If you're okay where you're at right now, who am I to say anything different? I'm not, and I'm not going to. But so many people aren't happy where they are for a variety of reasons. They're not happy in their job. So what's the worst that could happen if you started putting some feelers out, throwing out some resumes? Don't quit your job. I've done that. Don't do that. And, you know, see if you're marketable or not. You know, nobody needs to know. What's the worst that could happen if you decide you want to go to school? You might find out you don't have quite enough money yet, okay? So what do? Go part-time student? Student loan? I mean, there's all kinds of ways to go to school if you want to go. What about learning a foreign language? That's too hard. No, probably not. Not with today's technology, Rosetta Stone and all that stuff. So there's really no good answer to that question other than you're going to be right where you are right now. So nothing's going to change. So my challenge to everyone, including myself, is to keep pushing that envelope and just ask the question, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, right now I'm still doing push-ups. I started in July 1st. I'm at over 6,000 push-ups since July 1st. What's the worst that could happen? I stopped doing push-ups. I mean, that's it. But I will have gained muscle mass and strength that I never had before. I'm doing flutter kicks every single night, along with the push-ups. Sorry, brain fade. What's the worst that could happen if I stop doing flutter kicks? I stopped doing flutter kicks. I just stopped doing them, and I don't rip my belly out every night, because that hurts, by the way. So, you know, the worst that could happen is you are where you already are. So in my view, there's nothing to lose. There's absolutely nothing to lose if you decide, well, that old fat guy can walk 5 miles per day. I can do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But you got to get it in your head that you're going to do it, and just ask yourself that question. Okay, what's the worst that could happen? You do it for a while and you don't like it, no biggie, you stop. But word of warning, you're not going to like it, but your body is. Your body almost craves it at this point. I mean, I don't even think about it. Now, sometimes I procrastinate like I did today. I was a little late today again. But your body absolutely craves this stuff, and you have to do it. At least I do. So that's my word of wisdom for today. Ask yourself that question. What is the worst that could happen? Watch what happens. Peace.